Hey everyone, you're on Reddit Reveals. Let the story play out, and afterward let me know in the comments whose side you're on. They didn't see me walk in because they were too busy mocking my personal life. No greeting, no, "Hi babe!" Just my fiancé screaming from the living room. He literally asked if I wanted to schedule it. Like, put it on the calendar next to my dentist appointment. Then the room exploded. Four of her friends, all tipsy, barefoot, sitting around our coffee table, just losing it. One actually slapped the floor. Another choked on her wine. And her, she kept going. I mean, it's bad enough that he grunts like he's at the gym, but he high-fives me after. Dead silence, then chaos. I stood by the fridge, still holding the six-pack I brought back from the gas station, because she asked for cider. My jaw clenched, not from embarrassment, from pure humiliation. These weren't strangers. These were women I'd helped move couches for, picked up from airports, lent money to. I even cooked for them once when she got food poisoning. I thought we were a team. Quick note, while you're listening, tell us which country you're watching from. "I swear," she said, wiping her eyes. "He tries so hard to be romantic and it just comes off desperate. Like he's pitching a product." She mimicked my voice. "If you give me 30 minutes of your time, I'll make this evening unforgettable." They nearly fell off the couch laughing. I dropped the six-pack a little louder than necessary. Bottles clinked. Her head snapped toward the kitchen. That's when I saw her face shift. First pale, then a forced smile. The other girls froze like deer in headlights. "Oh, hey," she said, standing up quickly. "We were just talking about—" "I know what you were talking about," I cut in. "You were talking about me like I'm not the guy paying rent for this apartment." No one breathed. She laughed. That tight fake laugh she used when she knew she messed up but didn't want to admit it. "Come on, it's just girl talk. Don't be so sensitive." I walked over, pulled out the small velvet box from my jacket pocket, and dropped it in front of her. It hit the table right between the wine glasses. "Perfect timing," I said. "Now you've got a new story to tell." She stared at the box like it might bite her. "What are you doing?" one of her friends whispered. "Oh, my word." I looked around the room. You all thought that was funny. Cool. Here's the punchline. I'm done. Engagement's over. She blinked. "Wait." "No," I said. "You wait. You wait for the next guy to sign up for public humiliation. I'm out." I grabbed my keys, turned, and slammed the door behind me. I didn't go home that night. I didn't even get in my car right away. I just walked down the block, past our neighbor's house where the porch light was flickering, past the same tired row of trees I used to help her decorate for Halloween. I kept walking until the cold finally settled into my bones and the adrenaline wore off. That's when it really hit me. She didn't just embarrass me. She exposed every private part of our relationship, twisted it, and passed it around like a party favor. And the worst part? She was proud of it. She said all that with a smile on her face. I ended up crashing at my buddy Nolan's place. He lived about 20 minutes across town, and when he opened the door and saw me standing there holding a six-pack and a phone that still had her name glowing on the screen, he didn't ask questions. Just stepped aside and said, "Take the couch." Next morning, I woke up to 100 missed texts. Some from her, most from her friends. It was like they were all trying to rewrite the night before in real time. We were just tipsy. It wasn't serious. "Emma didn't mean it like that. She loves you. You overreacted, man. Come back and talk it out." I didn't reply. I couldn't. I just kept staring at the words until they started to feel like background noise. Then her name popped up. Name. Not a text this time. A call. I let it ring. Nolan walked in holding coffee and nodded at the phone. "You gonna answer that?" "Nope," I said and took the mug from him. He sat down across from me, cracked his back like he was settling in for a story. So, what happened? I told him everything. The whole disgusting play-by-play. He didn't interrupt once, just kept sipping his coffee and shaking his head slowly like he was watching a car crash he couldn't stop. When I got to the part about the Toyota Camry joke, he nearly spit out his drink. "That's cold," he muttered. That's like deep freezer cold." "She was performing," I said. "Like I wasn't even real. Just some lame character in her stand-up routine." "What are you going to do now?" "I already did it," I said. "The ring's off. I'm out." He nodded, but didn't look convinced. "You think she's going to just let it end like that?" I didn't answer because I already knew the truth. Emma wasn't the type to walk away quietly. She was the type to spin it. And I was right. 2 hours later, she posted a picture of her hand, no ring, with the caption, "Free, finally choosing me." That's when I knew this wasn't over, not even close. So I got in my car and drove straight to her parents' house. I didn't go to her parents' house to talk. I went to return something. And to make sure they heard it from me before she twisted the story into some feminist self-love saga where she's the hero for breaking up with her boring, emotionally stunted fiancé. And that's the thing about Emma. If she doesn't like the truth, she rewrites it and sells it twice as loud. Her dad, Martin, opened the door wearing his usual hunting jacket, like he was seconds away from gutting a deer in the garage. He looked surprised to see me, but not annoyed. "Travis, you okay?" I held up the manila envelope. "Is Emma here?" He stepped aside. "She left for yoga about an hour ago. You want to come in?" I did, but not for long. Inside, her mom was sitting at the kitchen table doing a puzzle, pretending not to be listening. I handed the envelope to Martin and said, "That's the full breakdown of what I spent on the engagement. The ring, the party, the pre-wedding stuff. She can keep the ring if she wants. I'm not going to beg for it, but I'm not paying another dime. We're done." Her mom raised her eyebrows but didn't say a word. Martin opened the envelope, glanced inside, then looked back up at me like he wasn't sure what to say. "She posted a photo this morning," I added. "Hand without the ring. Caption said, 'Free, finally choosing me.' She didn't tell you." They exchanged a look. Her mom stood up slowly. "She said you got cold feet." I laughed. I actually laughed. "Cold feet?" She called me a Camry in front of 4 people and told a story about our marriage like she was auditioning for stand-up comedy. I ended it because she humiliated me in my own home. That's not cold feet. That's self-respect. Martin rubbed the back of his neck. "She said you stormed out." I did. Right after I took the ring off and told her exactly why. The silence was thick. And honestly, I didn't expect them to side with me. But I didn't come for their approval. I came to close a door. I nodded once, stepped back toward the front hallway and added, "I thought you two should know before it shows up on Facebook and your church friends start asking questions." Her mom followed me to the door. "What are you going to do now?" I looked at her dead in the eye. "Start over. Without someone who thinks I'm a joke." Then I walked out, got in my car, and drove straight to the jeweler. Because if she wanted to rewrite the ending, she'd have to do it without the ring. I didn't go to the jeweler to sell the ring. That would have been too easy. I went there to burn the last piece of this engagement on my terms. The guy behind the counter, Mitch, recognized me right away. We'd spent 2 hours together 8 months ago picking out that ring. White gold, oval cut, antique-style setting because, as Emma put it, I'm not basic like other girls. Mitch gave me a nervous half-smile when I laid the box on the counter. "Everything okay?" "Nope," I said. She called off the wedding, kept the ring, and posted about being free on Instagram this morning. "I'm just here for the paperwork." He blinked. "Wait, She kept the ring? Yeah, but I kept the receipt, and I put her name on the insurance in case she loses it after her next mimosa. He opened the drawer, pulled out a folder, and flipped through it. You want to cancel the coverage? No, I said. Transfer it. Put it under her name. If she wants to play single and empowered, she can be empowered enough to cover her own jewelry. Mitch stared at me for a second, like he wasn't sure if I was being sarcastic or not. Then he nodded and got to work. While he typed, I looked around the store. Couples everywhere. One guy down on one knee in the far corner with a shaky velvet box in his hand. His girlfriend was crying, nodding, probably imagining their Pinterest wedding. I didn't feel bitter. I just felt tired. Like I'd been tricked into auditioning for a role I never wanted. She made jokes about me, I said suddenly. Mitch looked up. To her friends. In front of me. Personal stuff. Bedroom stuff. Like I wasn't even there. He winced. That's rough, man. I'm sorry. She said I was safe. Reliable. Like a Camry. Mitch let out a short, sharp laugh before catching himself. Sorry, that's oddly specific. Yeah, and weirdly accurate, I said. Only difference is, a Camry never cheated on anyone. He raised his eyebrows. Wait! She cheated? I hadn't said it out loud until that moment. But now, the words just came out. Not technically, not yet. But you don't mock someone like that unless you're already halfway out the door. Mitch tapped his pen. You want me to add a clause that you're no longer responsible for any future claims? I nodded. Exactly. After today, I'm not responsible for anything tied to her. Not rings, not bills, not memories. He slid the new papers across the counter. Just sign here. So I did. And as I walked out that door, I left behind the last thing that had my name attached to hers. 3 days went by without a word from Emma. Not a text, not a call, not even a cryptic post about healing energy, or some fake deep quote like she usually dropped after a fight. That silence, it told me one thing. She was building something, a story. A version of this breakup where she looked like the one who'd finally stood up for herself and escaped her emotionally unavailable fiancé. I knew how she worked. She didn't like confrontation unless she had an audience and a script. She needed to feel like the main character, even if she had to lie to do it. I didn't plan to respond. I wanted to be done. But then Nolan sent me a screenshot. She'd posted it to her story. A boomerang of her clinking glasses with 2 girlfriends. Same ones from the party. Caption said, "Single life hits different when you leave the weight behind." Heart emoji. Champagne emoji. I read it twice. The weight. Nolan just texted one word. Wow. I clenched my jaw so tight my teeth ached. She didn't just twist the story. She flipped the entire table. And her friends? They were all in on it. Hyping her up in the comments. Dropping, "So proud of you," and "He never deserved you anyway." But one comment stood out. A guy I didn't recognize. His name was Chris, all lowercase. His comment? "Told you you'd feel lighter." That was it. Told you. I clicked his profile. Private. One mutual. Emma. Now, I'm not a jealous guy. I don't play detective. But when a dude publicly comments something that familiar on my ex-fiance's breakup post 3 days after I walked out, that's not just a coincidence. That's someone who already had his shoes off on the welcome mat before I even slammed the door. I scrolled back through old photos. Nothing obvious. But then I found one from 2 months ago. Emma and her girls at a wine bar. Chris was in the background. Same guy. Sitting 2 tables behind them. Not with anyone. Just there. Staring straight into the camera like he didn't care if he was caught. I remembered that night. She told me it was just a girl's thing. I snapped the photo, circled his face, and sent it to Nolan. He replied instantly, "Bro." Yeah, that's what I thought. I didn't message her. I didn't throw accusations. I didn't start drama in the comments. I did one thing. Called my buddy Ryan, the one who helped Emma with her resume when she was job hunting last year. He still worked at that same co-working space. I asked him one question. Hey, does the name Chris ring any bells? His response made my stomach drop. Oh, you mean her lunch buddy? That guy she's always with? I hung up without another word and drove straight to her apartment. I didn't knock. I used the spare key she forgot I still had. Maybe that was petty, maybe it crossed a line, but I wasn't walking in there to start a fight. I was walking in to confirm what I already knew. The apartment was too quiet, that kind of forced quiet you get when someone's trying not to be heard. I stepped inside and immediately noticed a second pair of shoes by the door. Men's sneakers. Not mine. I hadn't been there in days. And unless her dad suddenly took up jogging in designer trainers, I knew exactly whose they were. I moved through the hallway, past the bookshelf I built, the throw pillows I never liked, the stupid hand-painted live laugh love sign she got from Etsy that I always joked about taking down. And then I heard a voice. Male. Close. He hasn't messaged you at all? Nope, she said, her voice casual, like this was just another afternoon. He just walked out like I knew he would. I mean, I gave him the out. He took it. Chris. Had to be. He spoke again, quieter. You okay with it, though? Ending it like that? There was a pause, then her laugh, soft and smug. I didn't want to marry him. I wanted the wedding. I wanted the photos, the ring, the attention. But him? He was never exciting. I stepped into the doorway. She froze. So did he. Chris was sitting on my side of the couch, wearing one of my old hoodies. My hoodie. Emma's eyes widened like she'd seen a ghost. Chris stood up immediately, his hands half raised like he wasn't sure if I was about to throw him through a wall. What are you doing here? She asked, trying to regain her voice. I came to see how much faster you moved on after trashing me in front of your friends, I said, locking eyes with her. Chris mumbled, Look, man, I didn't know you guys were still... You don't get to speak, I snapped, cutting him off. You knew. You were at the wine bar. You commented on her post. You've been orbiting this thing like a vulture. Emma stepped forward. You're not my fiancé anymore. You don't get to barge in here like this. I held up the key. I do, when your name is still on my lease, and when that guy's wearing my hoodie. She grabbed it out of his hands like that would somehow fix the moment. Fine, take the key back. I tossed it on the floor. Keep it. Just remember, every light in this place, I paid for it. Every piece of furniture, mine. You don't get to rewrite how this ended. Not when you already started your sequel before the first story was done. I turned to leave, then paused. And tell Chris, I added without looking back. The Camry had better taste. Then I shut the door behind me. It should have ended there, right? I walk out. She stands there in silence, with Chris still holding the hoodie like a fool, and we never speak again. That's what I wanted. But when someone's obsessed with being seen as the victim, they don't let go quietly. Not Emma. 2 days after I walked out of that apartment for the last time, she went live on Instagram. I wasn't watching it in real time. I'm not that pathetic. But my phone lit up nonstop from friends texting me screenshots and clips. Nolan even screen recorded the whole thing like it was a courtroom deposition. It was 10 minutes of pure spin. 10 minutes of her sitting on our couch, no makeup, hoodie on, probably his now, and telling her followers how emotional abuse doesn't always look like yelling, and sometimes the worst pain is being invisible in your own relationship. She actually said that. Invisible. That's when I realized she wasn't just trying to lie. She was trying to rewrite history. According to her, I was cold, distant, unromantic, and she stayed longer than she should have out of fear of starting over. And then she cried on camera for likes. The comments were what really got me. Random women calling me a narcissist, telling her she was so brave, that she dodged a bullet. A few even started tagging me directly, people I didn't even know. Some girl I'd never met commented, "This is why I'll never trust an accountant." At first, I wanted to post the truth, lay it all out. The party, the jokes, the ring. Chris. Especially Chris, but I stopped myself. Not because I wanted to protect her, but because I realized something better. I didn't need to say a word. Her lies were too clean, too perfect. And when someone tells a perfect lie online, real people in their life start remembering the cracks. Sure enough, 2 nights later, I got a call from her cousin Natalie. She never liked me much, always acted like Emma could do better. But her voice on the phone, nervous, like she wasn't sure if she should be calling me. "She's telling everyone you emotionally manipulated her," she said. "I know." "She said you threatened to leave her all the time." "Never happened." "She said you controlled her money." I actually laughed. "She never even looked at our budget. I bought her flowers twice a month and covered rent while she figured out her Etsy candle shop." Natalie was quiet for a second, and then she said, "Just so you know, Chris, he's married." I sat up straight. "What?" "Yeah, I know his wife. They've been separated for a few months, but not officially. Emma's been seeing him since before the party." That was it. I wasn't just a backup plan, I was her decoy. So I opened my laptop and started typing. I didn't post some long rant. I didn't write a thread or expose her in the comments. I kept it clean and sharp. One photo, the ring receipt, right next to a screenshot of her Instagram caption that said, "Free, finally choosing me." Underneath, I wrote, "Freedom looks expensive when someone else pays for it." Within 30 minutes, the post had over 300 shares. An hour later, someone DM'd me a screen recording of Chris's wife, yes, wife, posting her side of the story. Turns out, Emma had no clue she was being played by a guy juggling 2 lives. The wife showed photos of their wedding, texts between Chris and Emma that she had backed up from their shared iCloud, and even a clip of Emma saying, "Don't worry, he's leaving her soon." The internet turned on her overnight. Suddenly, the same people who were calling her brave were now tearing her apart. The same followers who commented, "You're glowing," under her fake cry video were now asking if she'd apologize to me. The best part, she tried to go live again to clarify the situation, but no one bought it. Comments were flooded with snake emojis and clips of her mocking me at her party. Someone even edited her Camry joke next to a photo of Chris's actual car, a beat-up Dodge Charger with a cracked bumper. Poetic. I didn't reply to anything. I just sat back and let it all burn. My silence made it worse for her. She couldn't spin it anymore. She had nothing to push against. Just a mirror. And thousands of people finally seeing through her performance. A week later, I got an envelope in the mail with no return address. Inside was the engagement ring. No note, no apology, just the ring. I didn't even hesitate. I sold it that same day and used the money for 2 things. First, I paid off the last bit of my car loan. Second, I booked a week-long hiking trip out in Colorado. No phones, no Instagram, just real peace. Up in the mountains, where it was quiet and the air didn't stink of fake personalities, I finally breathed again. I wasn't someone's punchline. I wasn't someone's safety net. I was just me. And I liked who that guy was, even if she never did. When I came back home, I started fresh. New apartment, smaller place, but mine. Clean walls. No dumb live, laugh, love signs. Just peace. Emma never reached out again. Last I heard, Chris ghosted her, and she tried to take a break from social media to focus on healing. Translation? She got caught and couldn't lie her way out this time. As for me, I bought a new hoodie. No logos, no team colors, and it fits better than any ring ever did. Would you have exposed her like he did or walked away in silence? Drop your answer in the comments and hit subscribe if you enjoyed the story.